FrSky company. We know FrSky company. They sell nice FrSky transmitter modules, receivers with full telemetry. This is, I think, the best China RC which you can buy. But FrSky wants their own custom transmitter, and they make FrSky TARANIS transmitter. This movie will be only basic introduction to TARANIS radio, only for someone who knows nothing about this radio, and I hope it could be fine for someone who has idea about buying of this radio. So TARANIS you can buy in this nice metal case, aluminum case. You can buy it with receiver, without receiver, with this box, without box. It's different. Right? Radio transmitter, I think, is nice. This radio has two gimbals in ball bearings with really nice and smooth movement. Yes, really nice. On sides are next to control elements, one and second. Next, two potentiometers, here, and 8 switches, two positions, and these 2 positions for trainer function, for example, and 6 3 positions switches. In radio is LCD display 212 by 64 pixels with 16 grays with backlighting. Yes. Inside the radio is 42 bits CPU ARM Cortex M3 on 60 megahertz, so really powerful CPU for transmitter. I think what next? On back side you can see USB connector for headphones, and connector with ppm output for trainer functions, for FPV, etc. On battery space, inside is nickel metal headed accumulator, SD card. In radio is default 2 gigabytes SD card, and serial port for any next advanced programming and functions. About USB and about SD card. Inside is firmware Open 9X. I will tell you more about this firmware, but for now, in Open 9X you can save 60 models. Inside is enough memory for 60 models. If it is not enough for you, you can save or export some models on internal SD card. and you can easily move these models back in your memory later. On SD card are saved voice messages. On SD card are saved images for models. You can each model can be with some small image. And this is about SD card. About USB. With use of USB you can easily update firmware, you can easily backup models from radio to your computer, and you can send it someone by email, for example. You can change voice messages, and this is really easy way how you can easy update your radio. I will show you later on some movie how you can connect it to computer, and with use of company 9X software how you can just backup your models, or how you can update your firmware inside the radio. About firmware, this is really interesting. Maybe you know firmware Open9X. This is open source firmware. We know this firmware from TARANIS 9X or TARANIS 9XR radios. But now Open9X is inside FrSky TARANIS directly from factory. Yes, FrSky collaborate with Open9X authors, writers, and FrSky TARANIS is really optimized for Open9X, and Open9X is really optimized for TARANIS. So Open9X is firmware with a different philosophy of usage. No templates. Everything in your airplane, in your model, you must program by your hands. But this programming is actually without any limits. You can program everything what you want. You can program with use of telemetry values in your mixes, in your switches. You will see later. I will make small movies with basic programming in Open9X. In a radio, FrSky TARANIS is inbuilt transmitter module. Transmitter module FrSky in highest version with PXX protocol. With this transmitter module you can use this radio with 8 channels with full telemetry, with 16 channels with full telemetry, or with 12 channels without the telemetry, but with 3 times longer range. This is only about internal transmitter module, because on back side is space for next transmitter module. So you can put second module, for example, FrSky, Jetty, Futaba Fast, Spectrum DSM X, FlySky from TARANIS 9X, etc. Just standard module with JR box you can put here, and you can use both module inside the radio in the next module on back side in one time in one model. So 16 channels, maybe you can use it. 32 channels in one time. Or you can use only one module, on only this module, for example, how you want, without limits. But full telemetry on display and voice output is only for internal module. Yes, you can use this back module, but without telemetry from this back module on display and without voice messages. So this is about modules, about Open9X. About Open9X, 60 model memories, memory for 60 models. Each model can use 64 functions or mixes. Each model can use 9 flight modes with many next functions. You can use integrated voice output for any sounds, messages, alarms, variometers. You can mix telemetry values in your functions. For example, if my altitude will be 300 meters, switch off my motor, for example, without any problems, with FrSky telemetry inside and with compatible receiver, because it's more protocols for FrSky and more receivers, but this is for any other movie. This is only my point attention for type of your receiver for TARANIS. If you want to use all functions, you must use receiver with PXX support. When I switch on a radio, you can use voice from radio. You can hear voice.
Welcome to TARANIS. Throttle warning.
Throttle warning.
Switch warning.
Switch warning. So, next movie. This was only a first introduction about FrSky TARANIS radio. Next movies will be about radio setup. Not all, because this is really complex firmware, and complete video will be for hours and hours. Yes, this will be basic radio setup. One movie. Next movie will be about basic model setup, about many for model setup. And next movies will be about, I think, 4 or 5 movies about real programming of real airplanes. First lesson will be some standard 4 servos, airplane, elevator, throttle, ailerons. Next lesson will be the same, but with flaps and, for example, any custom switch, safe switch. Next lesson will be with 4 servos wing, and probably last lesson will be with 4 servos wing with flight modes, with software switches, and with any timer use, etc. This will be lessons. There will be lessons only for you for your easier start with Open9X, because this is really complex and massive firmware with many options and possibilities. Don't worry, you can use it easy with standard airplane with simple 4 or 5 functions. But if you want, you can use it in really complex and sophisticated systems. So I think this is for now all. I hope I not forgot nothing important, and see you soon with a short movie about system settings on FrSky TARANIS transmitter radio. Sorry for my English, and thanks for your watching.